Hello everybody, this is Ryan and this is lesson 3 of working with JavaScript. In this lesson we'll be learning all about variables and how they work. So to begin, let's link to an external JS file. I'm going to use lesson3.js. I'm also going to have a div on the page so that I can put some output into that div. Note the ID of the div, so later we'll be using getElementById to access that ID. In the JS file, I'm going to have an init function again and an onload equal to init. This makes sure that the div has loaded before we try and add some text to it using JavaScript. Creating a variable is a two-step process. Step 1 involves declaring the variable. We do this by typing var followed by the name of the variable. At this point we are just allocating space for it in memory. We have not yet assigned a value to the variable. So that is our next step. It's called initializing the variable. I'm going to create a note next to this line of code to explain what's going on here. We do this by using 2 forward slashes. This is called a comment, and it's quite useful for taking notes. This type of variable is known as an integer. Another way you can think of an integer is a whole number. Now I'm going to combine the two steps as we did previously. So the declaration phase and the initialization phase I'm doing all in one to save time. This type of variable is known as a string, as it contains characters. Another type of variable is also numeric in nature, but this is a float, short for floating point number. This is because it contains a decimal place. This is an example of a Boolean variable. Boolean simply is either going to be true or false. Notice that there's no quotation marks surrounding the word true. If there were, it would actually be a string rather than Boolean. Then I'm going to need to write some text into my panel. So to do this, I would say document.getElementById, and remember the ID was called block, and the inner HTML property of the div will specify some text inside of that. Okay, let us run our code and see what happens. And we get the word hello. Okay, so I'm going to create an additional variable now. This variable is going to be an object variable. So I'm going to call it block, and I'm going to assign the document.getElementById block to that variable. And then on the next line I'm simply going to say block.innerHTML equal to hello. Okay. So this type of variable is known as an object. An object has normally got two main features. It has the ability to create child objects, and those objects can contain both methods, which are functions or your verbs, as well as properties, which are more like your nouns. So in this case, block represents a object, which is the div tag, which we've retrieved by using document.getElementById. And the property that we are setting in this case is the inner HTML property, allowing us to put some text between the two div tags. Okay, inside my block I'm going to create a sentence using the variables that I've just created. So we'll say my name is, and I want to say my name is Ryan, but I want to use this variable. So I can't go my name is name, because that's simply going to print my name is name. So what we do is we close the quotation marks and we add a plus sign to concatenate a variable onto the end of the sentence. Let's give this a try. And there we have it. My name is Ryan. I can build onto the sentence by adding another plus and opening the quotes again. All the literal text goes inside of the quotation marks and all the variables goes outside of the quotation marks. And then we have to use pluses to join everything together. Okay, so I'm adding another variable to this. My name is Ryan and my age is 34. And so we can add on all the other variables too if we would like to. Now, if I want to add some additional text to this div tag, I could do so by continuing on the end of the existing line by using the plus sign, or on the next line I could just say block.innerHTML equal to block.innerHTML plus some additional text. Let's see what that does. I'm probably going to have to put a BR inside here, otherwise we are going to end up having everything on the same line. There we have it, some additional text. So I basically said the new value of the inside of the div is equal to the old value of the inside of the div plus an additional bit of text. Because if I just said equal to here, I would have lost the previous text that was already in the div. So we can shorten this by using a plus equal to operator. So we just say block.innerHTML plus equals as follows. And you can see that is much shorter. The plus equals is basically saying we're adding to the existing value of the div some more text. Let's take a look, and there you can see some additional text has been added. So to revise, we can create variables in two steps. We first declare the variable with var, and once you've declared the variable, we then initialize it with a certain value. Now it is also possible to declare multiple variables at once. So there I've declared 3 variables at once. You can even initialize at the same time. So in this example, we've declared 3 variables, var1, var2, var3. The first one we have not yet given a value to. The second one we've assigned a value of 22, and the third one we've assigned a value of 24. It's important to also note that the nature of a variable is that it can change values. So once I've assigned my name a value of Ryan, I can then go and assign it another value, and that value will overwrite the previous value of that variable. So if we run our code, you'll see that my name is now Susan, not Ryan. So the variable has changed its value. And this ends our lesson on variables.